All right, I don't know how long this is gonna last because I didn't charge my battery thing. Well, we'll see. I'm just gonna walk back, and this is gonna be another one of those little perspective videos. But it looks like I'm just gonna run out of juice. We'll see. Because it's been a while since I had charged those batteries. So everything you see, all of these homes, other than what I mentioned, everything you see for homes, houses, places, they when I first come out here back in the early 60s, none of this was here. Not a single house, not a single home. It's been a while since I done a video. And I kind of need the exercise. I'm a little ways from my house, probably maybe 4 or 5 miles. But we'll see. I don't think my battery's gonna hold. And these are all new homes, well, in the last 40 years or more, if you could call them new. And I'm basically walking from a garage and I'm having some work done on my car. And like I say, I don't know how long this will last. Looks like my battery was draining quickly. I have a large battery it's a battery pack. It runs this GoPro I have. This could take me a while to walk back, but we'll see. Like I said, all these homes were never here. The part of the road I am walking on right now is the only part of this road from all the way from Randolph that has never really been worked on. I mean, they pave it and keep it nice, but it's the only part that they've never worked on. People are going around me because I'm in the road a little bit. It's because it's icy on the side. I think I'm going to put my gloves on. Like I said, all these homes are fairly new. Well, 40 years new. They're going over that. That used to be a mural on that barn right there, or that garage. And they're finally going over it. It's been that way for years. Got a little fenced in area here. The horses aren't out right now. All these houses on your left that you see, they are all built in the early 70s. Maybe 69 to about 74. All these houses here were put in about the same time. I'd say about 1972.
Barely see you on the street, man.
This is a good exercise for me because I got to get ready to, when spring and summer starts getting here, I got time off now. I'm on retirement, sort of. I'm gonna have time, and it's been a while since I got out. A lot of these homes, they've been through a few different families. Different people have bought and then they've sold them. Some of them deteriorated some, and then they get refixed back up again. Hoping this video is coming out okay. This road here that he's driving on is called the Warren Road. It just goes down and turn around. Used to be able to drive all the way through. There's a few newer houses on this road, but all in all, the older homes are over here. There's a small pond down there called Mahumkeg Pond, but there are new homes in here. But the old homes are in here too. The ones that go way back until, oh, some of them back in the late 1800s. Like I said, all of these are all new homes. If you want to call a 40-year home new. At least compared to when I came out here in the 60s. So the road I'm on right now is it's Route 194, and this route just goes here and there. You have to follow it, but if you're down in Randolph, which is behind me, which is like 5 miles. From that, when I first came out here, from that point when you came onto this road to where I live, there was only 9 houses in this entire East Pittston area, at least on this road up until the village. Place on the left is a really nice home. It's been in here for 45 years, and it still looks really, really nice. Nope, I'm walking.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that deer meat?
Perfect.
Alrighty. Sure you don't want to ride?
No, don't need a ride.
Okay.
I'm doing a recording.
Okay. Hope I'm not on it.
This home here on the right, this is only probably 10 years old, maybe less. Alright, so this section of the road here, even though it looks the same as that up there, from this point all the way down before I start to enter the village where the church is, this has been redone a long time ago, but it's been redone. I'd say they like took curbs out, took hills area out. These used to be really steep. Straightened the road out a bunch. This here, there used to be a house in here, because now it's just a big trailer repair area, sort of. But there used to be an older home here, and they tore that all down. I knew the family that lived here. I'd been in that home many times. Take a look up. There's the hill. Although you see some traffic coming by, and it seems like it's kind of a busy route, but it really isn't. And this, like it says, this here is all kind of new in here, although it don't look the same as up above. And this was widened. It was actually a curve right in here. They straightened it right out. Now, this place coming up on the right, this is an older home. This was one of the 7 homes that were here when we first moved out here. But this home right here, early 1900s, it's just been a lot of upkeep on it. They've kept it really, really nice. The garage, of course, is new. But this has been here for, could be the late 1800s, but I want to say definitely the early 1900s, maybe before 1920. Just that they've done a lot of work on it. That's a new place in there. So this area out here in Pittston, or we call this East Pittston, but it's part of the town of Pittston. If you go into these woods, you'll see where there's stone walls everywhere. And them stone walls, of course, were built by people who cleared the land and put in fields and had farms. And if you go into the woods and stuff, you'll find old foundations of the past, and they're everywhere. This place right here on the left, although the outside has been done up some, and it's probably, what you're seeing there is probably 50 or 60-year-old refurbished. They've got a metal roof and stuff on there. I knew the people who were there, lived there. They were relatives to the other place that I told you that wasn't there. This place has probably been here since, I want to say, the 1860s, maybe the 1840s. This was a real old place, ancient when I came out here. But yeah, this has been here a very, very long time. This is probably, it's not the oldest home out here. My best friend lives in the oldest home that was out here in East Pittston. In fact, it was the very first house ever built in East Pittston, and we'll be going up by that in a little while. Just right up on my road. This, like I said, this here was really steep inclines in here, much more curvy than it is. And they did this all up back in probably 68. So that's the only second house that I've described that was here when I first moved out here. And they own all this land way, way, way down. There's probably 300, 500, 700 acres of land that's owned by the family that used to own that place. The younger kids, which they're my age, of course, which makes us really old, they own a place further down. They have A-frames down on this other road that we'll be going by soon. So you can go through these woods. We used to dig dumps, find old dumps. And you'll find foundations all over the place, from old farms that go way back in the early 1800s. This is up in Maine. We have a history up here. Right here, see that? If you can see it, it says warning gas. And if you look that way, you can see, and you look back this way, they're saying warning gas. Well, this is a gas line that comes down from Canada, natural gas. And this Pittston area, or East Pittston area, basically the gas line goes right under the road right here. It goes right under this road. And this road, and I'll show you the others, basically the line runs in a way that it basically encircles this whole East Pittston area. In other words, every road that comes out of here, the gas line goes over. So we're sort of encircled by it. And that gas line was probably put in, I want to say, good 7 years. Been there. This is just another home up in there. They like their houses further back if they can do it. This place we're going to be coming up on now, on the right, the guy did almost all the work himself, and this has probably been in here, I want to say going on 4, maybe 5 years, maybe not even that long. And it was just this big hillside in here. He had bought the land, and He's done a really nice job here. It took him a while. He did it step by step, and he's got a nice small barn in here. He just recently did some work. It was a mess, and when he got all done, it looked like this. He did a really nice job. So there's a house right in there. Okay, and that was right on a hillside. He like kind of just dug this hillside out, and then this here was like a hillside in here. He had to do a lot of drainage setting, a lot of drainage issues, but he got it done. And when he got done, it looks really nice. And he's been very persistent at it. Took his time. I doubt if he owes a penny on this place, but he paid everything in cash. And we'll take a look back. Now that place up on top of the hill I told you about, that old place, they own all this land in here. And it goes way over. It's like I said, there's probably 700 acres in here. They owned everything on the other side too, especially where the gas line went in. There was 385 acres over there. This is mostly because if you're sitting here and thinking, well, this guy owned like 1,500 acres out here in Pittston, and that's because it had been in the families for so long. You know, you're talking 100, 150 years, and they never sold any of the land. So yeah. I have a place that has 27.5 acres of land, and at one time my dad had come out and he bought 100 acres of land for $1,000 in 1963. Okay, we're walking up a hill. This place here on the right here, to build like a bridge across this opening. And again, here's another place that it took a while, took quite a few years, but they just work on it step by step. And now you got this nice place right in here. Again, none of these places existed when I first came out here in 1963. This little driveway up here on the left, there's an old dump in there, mostly just metal. So here's an old driveway here. You could drive right up in there. There's a gate thing across it right now. But there used to be an old house up in there. I want to say probably way back in the early 1900s. Of course, it's all completely gone now. It just rotted away over disuse and a lack of maintenance. Whereas the old I want to say maybe the 1890s, but not a big place. Little places when they first built. I'm good. Just do it. Yeah, thank you. I don't get out and walk like this very much, except when I'm doing my trails, but this is a good workout. As you can tell, people know who I am. They don't see me out walking much, so they stopped and asked. Now my friend Nick, he walks all the time, so, and he knows everybody out here. I really don't know anybody. I keep to myself pretty well. That gentleman there that I just talked to, he's done the entire Appalachian Trail in the state of Maine. And that's what I plan on trying to do. I just got to get my friend to start coming with me. With more time off, I should be able to do that. So this road here on the right, and this place you see right here, this is the Piston Fair. This was, the first time it opened up was the year that I was born. Down this road right here, other than a few places, there's a lot of old farms down in here. I mean old ones. They go back in the 1880s, 1870s. And they have large acreage that they own. Some of them 300, 400, 500 acres of land. And so this place here is the Piston Fair. I remember coming here when I was a little kid. Now, just recently, this place up here on the right is an area which Central Maine Power is renting because they're doing a lot of work on the lines. Just recently we had a vote to stop what they call the Central Maine Power Corridor, which I of course wanted it to continue, but mostly the groups that didn't supposedly are environmental groups, because they were concerned about a 50-mile stretch of land that's up near the northwest border of Maine that goes into Canada. So it was power that was, they were only going to, that was the only part that was going to be, you know, done like that, where they were making a corridor. Everything else is all existing lines. So this is what you see over here is improving and upgrading the existing lines for Central Maine Power, and this was one of the areas that they rented out so that they could, you know, do what they're going to do. And they got quite a little space in here. Normally this would have this is normally all open, just open fields, but right now it's a work area. And eventually this will all go away. As you can see, their pipelines are down there, massive pipelining. This is wire, but and that was supposed to be what they call the Clean Energy Connect, and the people of Maine voted it down, which that's why you vote. Kind of a shame, and it didn't make sense, because here in the state of Maine right now, the large logging companies like Weyerhaeuser right now owns any of the, you know, public land mostly here in the state. And what happens is they you don't get any big logging anymore. And if you go up north, go up into the forests and stuff like that, well, there ain't really any forest anymore, because everywhere you look it's being harvested. And so a lot of us just didn't understand the concept that there was an issue with this 52-mile long corridor that they were, which is basically on the Canadian-Maine border up by Jackman, because they harvest in those areas too. So it's, you know, I suppose they're thinking, oh, just because they do it doesn't mean we should. Okay, so again, this is part of the road that had been repaired many years ago. This place on the right is a recent place. This recently came in. Whoever owned this land sold it. And this is a pretty big house. 4-bay garage. Don't really know what they do. Got a fence all around it to make it look, I don't know, homey, I guess. Thing you want to remember about fences: they always deteriorate away. I could never understand why someone would want to put a fence up unless it was for keeping your cattle in. But in 10 years, this will all just be falling down. Place on the left, one of my good friends when we were young worked here and helped build this home. It just recently had some, you know, rework. They new siding, new top, new roof, but it'd been there for 30 years or 40 years. and it just needed some upgrading again, and they did a really beautiful job, whoever did that. This place on the right over here is completely new. They have some tiny horses over there. I don't really know what, I'm not sure if you'd call them Shetland ponies, but they're real little ones. And this is fairly recent too. Both these places have not been in here more than a year. This one has only been in here probably 5 months. They started that this summer and did all that. So we're coming up on a corner here. This is a fairly it's shallow compared to what it used to be. This used to be just a straight out 90-degree corner, and the road basically just went straighter than this, and it went right up close to the graveyard, and it was a 90-degree corner in here. But now it's quite shallow compared to what it used to be. Here on the left is a house sitting in here. I would say that's been abandoned for a while. It's slowly degrading. That's been here since probably, I want to say, the early 1900s. But right now it's just, I mean, it's still not too bad, but it hasn't had anything done on it in quite a while. So like I said, this here just used to go kind of straight, and it was just a direct 90-degree corner. It's like making a right turn onto another road. And it would go straight, and the road you see over here, that was like way down there. So this basically just came around and went straight, and then it was a 90-degree corner. When we were younger and had automobiles, people used to, lots of people, would see how fast they could go around that corner without slowing down. And of course, it being the way it was, you'd crash right through the little gate thing they had there, the sign. You'd end up in the graveyard. Now this graveyard here on the left, this is really old. There are places that I would say, yeah, these go way back. A lot of these graves are into the 1800s, 1840s. There are no new headstones in there. All right, we're going around the corner here. But that road right there, like I say, it used to just come out straight. So up here on the right is this church. This is also, now you're going to start getting up into some older places. We're getting ready to walk into the little village of East Pittston. You got the church here on the right. Of course, it's had some upgrades, like a lot of the places out here. So a lot of the places you see have been upgraded or refurbished, because people with pretty good money would buy these older homes here in the state of Maine, and they put some money in them to refurbish them up, and they try to keep them as good and as original as you can. But at some point you have to upgrade them somehow. You got to refurbish them. It's the same thing with this church. I believe the church has been here since about 1890, and she's an old one. You can go inside and you can tell, but a lot of refurbishing. Now there's some old houses over there. Not all of them. There's a few old ones that have been in there since the, I want to say, the late 1890s. This house coming up on the right is another older home that would have been in the 1800s. A lot of them you can always tell by their architectural style of the home, and you can always see where new has been added on. This one here, probably the late 1800s, but again, they get refurbished because, you know, they're old. I've never been in this house. I've been in the church. The church, when you go in the church, you can still see some of the old hand-hewn beams in it. And we haven't, and like I said, all these houses we're coming through now, I want to say late 1800s, early 1920s and 30s. Okay. So we're coming up here into the village. You get a bunch of little work to do on it, but you're probably so good at it, it won't take you long. I'd like to get it back as soon as I can. Alright, so another one here on the left, I want to say early 1900s. Could be the late 1800s, but these are probably 1900s type homes. This one here on the right, sometimes you can always tell because of how the front of the houses are, and you see that long step to the back. And this one here, it's just the front part that is quite old. I want to say the late 1800s, early 1900s. This church over here on the left, that's all been refurbished up. Someone lives there. That is definitely goes back to the real early 1800s. One of the ways you can tell is what's on the top, where the bell used to be. That takes you back into the into like the 1860s or 1870s. The guy that lives here, he redid this entire front porch. Yeah, but that church right there is an older one. That's one of the oldest buildings in here, except for a place up here on the right. Actually, a couple places. is a stream. This stream here, from this point, this stream right here, this has been recently fixed up a little, but this stream right here will eventually end up down in what they call the Eastern River, which empties into the Kennebec, and that's probably 20 miles down into the Dresden area. But this is where the stream originates from, and is up this way. It goes up this way, and there's some bogs up there if you go down this other road on the left. So this place on the right, we're now down the village. This place here on the right, what they call the Village Manor, it's been through quite a few different ownerships. Now this place is pretty old. This goes back in the 1870s, 1880s. This is the original barn right here. There's almost been no work done on it since it sat there. Even maybe the corrugated metal was put on in the early 1900s. But that's an old barn in there. And this place right here on the right. This is sort of like a bed and breakfast. A place where people can rent that don't have a lot of money right now. And like I said, this is the 1880s, 1870s, maybe even sooner, earlier. This has always been a really nice place. It's not in, it could be better. You can tell people have tried hard to keep it looking good and restored. That's the original. Other than below there, a lot of that up there is the original. They just, you can see how the, I don't know what you call it, but steep roofs, old chimneys, steep roofs. Place here on the left, probably late 1920s, or early 1920s. Like all these homes, yeah, I would say. Now, this store here on the right, this has been completely refurbished. Everything inside. I remember what it looked like when I first came back out here in the early 1960s. This place has been here, I want to say, definitely in the 1880s. But there's no way you could tell that even if you went inside now. It's all been refurbished, but the structural size of it and the form of it has been this way since it was first built. So right now we're walking through the village. This is our village. That house there is being slowly restored on the inside. My friend actually worked in there for a while. Now the older home here on the left, I want to say the late 1800s. So this place here on the left is our fire station. This is a brand new building. It's only been there a couple years. The guy that, he's kind of got a lot of money. He donated all the money to build it. And he's even got his name on it. And in this spot, when I first came out here, there was another store. There used to be a store in here and had gas pumps and stuff. So there used to be an old store here. It was even older than the one that we just passed. And that was eventually torn down, all ripped up, and they put a fire station in here. And then what happened was that fire station was getting old, and this is the new one. It looks really nice. So this is the East Pittston fire station, or the Ireland Village Station. Well, for L for Larry. Larry Island, Pittston Fire Department, and because he donated all the money to have it built, which was extreme because he's always been a, you know, volunteer fire person, and his home is over there, and he's got a beautiful home. And it was just very, very nice of him to do that. Didn't cost the town anything. Another old house here. Remember there was an old Russian that lived in there? This place on the right, early 1900s. Been refurbished some. All right. We're going to slowly get up on the road that I live on. All new homes here. See, this is an example of what fences do. The only thing they do is fall down and rot. This is a new place here on the right. It was strange because this was a brand new home put in here, and then this is just a recent thing, the garage. It was a brand new home put in here, wasn't even in here for, I don't even think, 2 years, and they refurbished the whole thing. They had to go through the whole thing. Obviously it wasn't built very well. Now, this place up here on the right is a good example of very poor quality work, where this home on the right here had to be all refurbished only after 2 years, as compared to this home here on the right, which has had some work done with it. I mean, the outside siding and the roofs, of course, is not original because over the years. But this one here is another one of those older homes. This was sitting here when we first came out in the 60s. This is another one of those homes. And I want to say definitely the early 1900s. But I think it actually goes back into the 1800s, like about the 1890s. And there's been some work done on it here and there over the years for refurbishing, because you got to. But generally, you can see the old stone, foundations and stuff that were put in here. Large block granite pieces that were put in. I've never been in that home, but you can see the old granite, and that would have been what you would call hollow granite. But I can guarantee that if you're in that cellar in there, it's going to be dry, and it's going to have the old rocked up cellars like all these old homes do. And basically they just got a lot of rock right out of the fields. And she has different types of animals, like you say, you can tell why the gabled homes are, and the steepness of the roofs. And that roof, I think, has just been recently done, like in the last 40 years. If you want 40 years to be recent. This here on the left is a place that they put in here because they needed a well for the town, for the village. And I think a lot of the village water is from this well here, because used to be a lot of chicken barns, and we don't do the chicken industry anymore. And a lot of places where a lot of the chicken barns were, and the big farms with a lot of cows and, you know, and farm animals and stuff, back during the 1880s, even further back. Well, a lot of that, of course, got into the groundwater over 100 years, and a bunch of these places out here, the water ain't that good. Coming up here on the left, this house was here when I first moved out here back in the early 60s. I want to say this is an early 1900s home. Again, you can see the steep roofs on it, and it's a fairly older place. And these are all new here on the right, just recent. This over here on the right is a real recent place, only been in there about 3 years. Hey, sweetie. I'll get off the road so the plow don't hit me. Hey there. Hey, how you doing? He's a barker. He's a barker. Now, we're still on Route 194, as you can tell. It goes this way and that. Now if you keep going straight, again that's east on 194. That'll take you down to Whitefield. See, it's been all uphill since just before we got to the fairgrounds. And this road will take you all the way down to the coast. So now I'm going to go up here on the Nash Road. I live exactly 1 mile on the right when you're right here. And we got some turkeys up here, little ladies. We have turkeys all over the place now. Other than the older homes, which a bunch of them up here are in the early 1880s. So these are all newer homes built back in the 1970s on the left. This place down here on the right is recent. It's only been there a couple of years. Like I said, all these homes here were built in the 70s. When I first came out here, this road is almost 2 miles until it goes down to a V or 2 other roads. Well, this like 2 mile stretch, when I first came out here, there was only 10 houses on the whole road. And none of them they all probably range from about the 1880s. Every single home on this road. When we first came out here, there was only 10 houses on this road. This place here on the right, it's been here for quite a few years. Land that belonged to my best friend up here's family. Now, Now this place here on the right, although it has been refurbished over the years, this place has been here since 1820. My best friend lives here now. His family lived here. I've known him all my life, almost. But this place on the right has been here since 1820. It's the very first structure that was ever built here in the East Pittston area. The very first. It is on the Register of Historical Sites. It's in a book. And that's how long this place has been here. On the right down here, my best friend, his brother, owns this place here. At one time, there used to be a great big chicken barn in here. And the barn came right up to here. It just was over here, all the way down there, all the way across. It was just a little entry area here. This entire area had a 5-story chicken barn on it. Sat right in there, and the barn was like right up here where these pits are. And it was a 5-story chicken barn sitting in here. And it burned down one night. And the night before, they had just gotten the chickens out. There's probably 40,000 chickens in that barn. And they had just hauled them all out the night before. And for some reason, I think there was an electrical issue. I was sitting on the bus, came by, and the place was burned to the ground. Alright, so now we're up on my road. This place on the right here is fairly recent, only been here about 3 years, maybe. This was very thickly forested, and they came in and they harvested all the wood, and then a guy came in and had this built. Real nice place. There's old dumps. If you go along this ridge, we're up on a ridge, and all in behind here, if you walk down in these woods, there's old dumps that we dug. And right over there, there was a gigantic pile of Zarek bottles that we sold for $1 a piece. This is another place that was here. This would have been the second house on the road. Been here since the early 1900s. That barn right there has probably been there since the 1940s. She's about ready to fall over. As you can see, a lot of trees in here, a lot of forestal area here. This is owned by, I believe, I'm not sure where the line is in here, but like I say, if you go down over these hills, you get further in behind, because I've done it. You walk along and you'll find dumps every once in a while. Where I live, we found an older dump, although most of it was broken up. But it went back into the late 1800s. But we only found a few scraps here and there of glass because they would have taken the stones from the that laid around the area and threw it on top. And that's what they did there. Place up here, there's a place here on the right. This has been in here for 20 years, maybe 25. I know the guy used to go to school with him. So all this time we've been going uphill since the fairground. This place here on the right was another one of the houses that were here when I first came out here. This would have been house number 3. I want to say late 1800s, early 1900s. Again, they don't look aged because they've been refurbished. A lot of work put into them. Again, if you go inside these places, you'll still see some of the old hand-hewn beams. Alright, this place up here on the left. This was house number 4 on the road when I first came out here. I know I've been rambling since I started this video. Early 1800s or late 1800s or early 1920s. This place here on the left. It's been here for a while. And again, it's been refurbished. The inside is absolutely beautiful. So this place on the left here is there used to be a real old home sitting in here, and it sort of still is, okay? I mean, you're talking about one of the older homes up here in the 1880s, maybe the 1870s. And you sit right here, right where this place is now. But it's still here. It's just in a different form. The guy that owns this place, he kind of incorporated the old with the new. And he did it in such a way that it was kind of pretty cool. He just kind of built and utilized the old with the new, and this is why this looks like this. But in reality, the old house still sits here. It's just that it's been morphed into what you see here. And this would have been a building, I want to say, definitely that late 1880s, 1860s. But he morphed it. If you go inside that home, you'll still see some of the old hand-hewn beams and style of the original house sitting right there. Because if you look at the foundation, again, some of that old hollow wood granite, and it will be on and that will be on the old rock basements, sandstone basements. This place on the right has been here for quite a little while. They owned a place down here on the left, and there used to be an old home sit a little further back, and that was probably could have been in the real early 1900s or the late 1800s, but it was mush and decaying a long time before we ever moved out here. Now this place up here, and that right there would have been house number 5 on that road, on this road. This is all new. The guy put a beautiful home in here, and they're all family of the mother and father here. Now this place here on the left is, it's only probably half or a third the size it used to be. This was a massive structure in here, and it went all the way down to the barn, and definitely the 1860s, easily. There used to be pillared front up here, but the people that live in the house just behind me, they did a lot of refurbishing on it. And again, if you go in there, you'll see the old hand-hewn structure of the place. I remember when it was all together, and of course it was rotting away down at the other end, but it all attached to that barn down there. Definitely the 1860s. Those 2 ladies that lived in there, and this place goes back, but it's not, it don't look hardly much like what it used to. This front here there was no garage there, and of course all the stuff on it is new, and there used to be old pillared front, and it extended all the way down and turned to the left and went right into the barn. And that's how old this place is. It's one of the oldies out here. But again, if you go in there, you'll still see all All the old, there used to be, it used to be a, not a hospital, but back during the early 1800s, there was a lot of, it used to be a medical place a little bit. It would have been a, you know, people with some knowledge that this was probably like a, what you'd call a doctor's office today. This place on the right, all refurbished. Again, this was old when we came out here. Real early 1900s, definitely in the 1880s. But again, all been refurbished and stuff. You know, when people own them, they can only do so much. And I've known the family that's been in here forever. All right, now we're coming up on my home. And all it is a 1955's Great Lake trailer with an add-on. And here it is. This is my house. Although I've done a few videos of this before. Got a whole new. Had not last summer, but the summer before. I finally got it fixed. I got a new roof on there. Metal roof. The old oil thing there was old, and I removed it and had a new one placed there. Done major insulation finally all the way around and up the top again. I did all new electrical into the house, or at least the incoming. There. So all this walk was mostly just to get accustomed to walking again. And I got my truck here. I left my car. Now, I'm hoping we'll take this right off.